Blog Talk Radio.
Crabcast on the air with HCO. Crabcast on the air, here we go. With your host, Lacey, DJ Crab Lord. If you're feeling crabby, it's everything you're looking for everything you need to know about hermit crabs. Crabcast, HCO is where it's at.
DJ Crablord and the ones and twos, giving out the info on the Hermes you know and love.
Hey everyone, what is up? It's Friday night and we are partying. No, not really. Hey everyone, this is Lacey, also known as DJ Crablord, on Crabcast on the air with HCO. This is episode 4, Winter is Coming. I tried to find a cool sound effect for that. Didn't quite work out. Oh well. The original air date of this is August 26, 2016. Tonight we will be chatting about how winter is coming. We will go over leaf litter, why you need it, why it's a good idea to stock up in the fall, how to prep it, heating, prepping your crab tank and your home for winter. Well, not your whole home, just, around the crab tank. Okay. I'll go over some group rules, and why not to be crabby in the group. I know it's kind of an oxymoron type thing, but you don't want to be crabby in a crab group. We'll go over why mail order crabs are not a good idea. They just are not. Also, there was a group post last week or 2 weeks ago, and today, called #SnackTime about your favorite hermit crab foods. I'll be reading some of them off. As always, I will be taking your calls for your questions, just to chat. If you'd like to give a shout out, you can say, hey, I'm shouting it out. If you'd like to call in, you can get on Skype, your phone, and dial 929-477-2202. All right, a few announcements here. We got Claw of the Wild free shipping weekend. So if you want to get some goodies and load up for your crabbies, you're going to want to head over to www.clawofthewild.etsy.com. Hermes Kitchen will be having free shipping next weekend. They have 2 websites. They have a domain name at hermeskitchen.com, no hyphens, no spaces, or you can go to www.hermeskitchen.etsy.com. We have a group announcement. We have secret Spooky Ghost sign up. This is our Halloween gift exchange. It works just like Secret Santa. There's a post in the group to sign up. You need to send Melissa your information by September 9th. You will get your secret Spooky Ghost person by the 11th. You need to send your gift out by October 21st. You also need to give Melissa a tracking number. Please send her a tracking number. That would be awesome. All right. Hermes Kitchen also has limited time HCO prints. One's in watercolor, one's in chalkboard. So what team are you going to be on? Team watercolor or team chalkboard? They come in 4x6s and 5x7s. They're for a limited time. They're only here for less than a month. If you don't get them now, they're going to be gone for good. All right, let's settle into the show. Winter is coming. I know people are probably at home sweating and like, oh, well, winter really isn't coming. Okay, the summer's been kind of weird. Normally it's cooling down by now, but you still want to get ready. Doesn't mean the leaves aren't going to fall. Doesn't mean it's all of a sudden not going to drop off, and then you're like, oh, great, there's snow. All right. One main thing about the fall is you want to find leaf litter. And you may ask, well, what the heck is leaf litter? Is it like somewhere the leaves go to the bathroom? No. We're talking about dead leaves that have fallen off a tree. You're going to want to make sure that these are in a pesticide-free yard. You're not, no chemicals, no lawn treatment, no nothing. So the best bet is to ask your friend, or if you know that you have a tree, or ask your neighbor. So you're going to want to rake it up. Some people bake it to get the dryness out. Some people set it out. Some people just toss it in the tank. Some freeze it. What I do is I personally lay it out so it can dry. And I also look to see if there's any creepy crawlies or any, meh stuff on it. That way it'll crawl off and it won't go into your crab's tank. But some people bake. You're going to want to do it at a low heat. You don't want to burn the leaves. You want to keep that goodness on them leaves, though. Okay, and to store it, you can store it in Ziploc bags, but if you have cats like mine who like to chew bags, my cats are weird, very weird, you're going to want to, I store mine in a tote. You're going to want to gather as much as you can up. That way, you have enough to last you the whole winter. So you're not just putting those leaves out to the curb, you'll be collecting them this fall. All right. We also want to go over heating. I don't know. I'm all the way up in New York, so I'm sure down south, further south than me, that people have had to unplug their heaters. I've had to unplug a few backups of mine. As most of you may know, I'm moving, and my crabs are currently in 3 different totes. So they're chilling in totes. So it's extra fun checking all these gauges. You want to keep your heating source so temperatures are always at least 78 degrees. Now, this is at night. You don't want to keep it like right at 78 degrees the whole day. You want to keep it at least at 80 for purple pinchers. If you have any exotics, you want to bump that up to 85 and keep it around 85 at all time. You can use an under-the-tank heater or a UTH. You'll see it called that in the group. You can use it on the side of the tank. You don't want to put it under the tank. You don't want to dry out your sub. And we'll talk about that in a little bit, why you don't want to dry it out. You can use a heat lamp also. You don't want to put the heat lamp into the tank. That's a big no-no. Okay, many crabs actually prefer the warmer temperatures. So if you want it, I have exotics, so I always keep my tank at least 85. You don't want it any lower than that. They seem to be more active. They like the heat. So and you want to keep everything at a steady temperature. You don't want it to all of a sudden drop, or bad things can happen. Just keep in mind that the percentage for the humidity levels need to be equal to or higher than the temperature for the crab. So you want to, say you have it at the temperature at 85. You want the humidity at 85 or above. If you have it at, say, 82, you want to keep it at 82 or above. It's a good idea to replicate their natural conditions by letting the temperature drop a little bit at night. I normally do just a few degrees. I have exotics. I have strawberries. They don't do well with temperature changes or any kind of stress, so I just want to keep it steady for them as much as possible. And if your house isn't totally climate controlled, it should pretty much do this. You want to watch it, just in case. Okay, under the tank heaters are UTHs. They must be mounted on the side of the tank, back of the tank, not underneath on the bottom. First of all, with all that sand in the tank, it's probably going to damage the cord. And more importantly, you want to heat the air, not the sub. You want to put it above the sub level. You don't want to put it like towards the bottom, like where the sand and all the good stuff is. You don't want to dry out the sub because your humidity is going to get messed up, and you won't get a sandcastle type of consistency either. Okay. Let's see. To keep those under the tank heaters in place, you can use heat tape, duct tape, and you just want to keep it on there so it's all nice and steady. Some under the tank heaters, you can use aluminum foil to keep the heat in. Some you can't. Styrofoam is safe. You just want to check with the manufacturer. I think we do have a thread about it on which under the tank heaters are safe to cover and which are not. With heat lamps, you want to use a heat bulb that doesn't give off any light. You want the crabs to definitely have a day-night cycle. And when I say not giving off any light, I mean no light whatsoever. You want to get a ceramic bulb. Red lights, they can still see that. Crabs have different eyes than us, and they're still going to see that. And most of those bulbs for the heat lamp dome, they've been linked to reptile blindness. Now, there's not information on this on hermit crabs, but it's safe to say that, something that bright, it's on you 24/7, it's going to end up hurting your eyes. It's going to end up messing up your cycle. You're not going to know where to go, what to do. It would just be like if you sat in a room with a light on for 24 or more hours. You wouldn't know when to sleep. Your sleeping pattern would get messed up. Your health would go downhill. Just please note, though, when you're using a heat lamp, it will lower the humidity. So you want to make sure you have bubblers, other things in place, because you still don't want to overmist. So, all right. Also, in winter, I don't know about down south. I haven't lived there in a while. I used to live in Texas. Shout out to Texas. But you're going to get bad weather. I mean, even Texas gets the ice storms. That's when I used to go grocery shopping because I knew how to drive in ice and snow. Sorry, guys. There'd be nobody at the store, and I would stock up on dollar frozen pizzas. Just a little information about me that you didn't need to know. All right, moving on. You want to make sure not only that your family is safe in case of a winter storm, but all your animals are. I don't know how many animals you guys have out there, so I'm just going to focus on the crabs. Bad weather or a power outage can strike at any time or any place. Doesn't matter where you are. Doesn't matter if there's a storm or not. I had, when my daughter was a newborn, there was a dump truck racing down the street and it hit a telephone pole. The power was out for several days. I had to go to a hotel room with her. She was only maybe 6 weeks old, I think, at the time. She was little. So more information about me. You'll need a stock of blankets, foil, some bubble wrap, styrofoam. The foil, bubble wrap, styrofoam, you can really intermix any. You just pick one. Or you can, if your tank's already insulated, use the installation. Hand warmers. Don't buy the deep heat, icy, hot menthol types. You don't want those. You want the ones that go into your gloves when you're shoveling snow. I think they're like maybe 98 cents at a drugstore, Walmart. They normally come in a pack of 10. Sometimes you can find them. Maybe even over in the boot section, I've seen them at Walmart and Target. You want to keep a stock of Tupperware also, just in case this weather lasts a long time or you have to evacuate. The old type is the best. I mean, that way you're not stacking up on like, oh, I'm going to go buy a new Tupperware set for all my crabs. Well, with someone like me, that's not a reasonable thing because I have 16 crabs. And some of them would need larger Tupperware, and some would probably pop it off because they're angry. You're going to want to keep moss, some water on hand. Flashlight, you definitely want to have a flashlight. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. You're not going to be able to see what you're doing at night if you got to evacuate. Installation, I already covered this. If you have installation, it's a good thing to have on hand, definitely in the winter. Up here, in January, it can get up to -30. That can cause a lot of issues with the wind chill factor and everything. It can cause gas to freeze over. It's not a good situation. When bad weather or winter is on the way, you definitely want to start prepping ahead of time. You want to have this on hand way before it hits. Once the weather starts getting cooler, you're going to want to head out to the store and be like, I'm going to nip this in the bud. I'm going to get this done and over with. Insulation can be found at hardware stores like Lowe's, Home Depot. We have a few different types of stores. I don't know every store in everybody's location, but there's a lot of mom and pop. The brand is Reflex that I use. It's spelled REFLECTIX. Oh, it was tricky. There's an X at the end of that one. It's recommended. It's very easy to use. It has a foil type appearance. It looks like foil, acts like foil, but better than foil. If you're on a budget, a layer or two will help. You just want to keep the roll of it. It's good to have on hand. Also, bubble wrap works great as insulation because you're going to want to wrap that sucker up to keep the heat in there. As soon as oh crap, the lights are out, let me get this out. Once you have it nice and insulated, you're going to want to make sure you put a blanket on top of it. Let's keep that really in there. Let's keep all the heat as much as you can in there. The bubble wrap will also hold humidity better than any type of foil. So if you have a mesh lid or anything like that, you're probably going to want to saran wrap the lid top again before you insulate it. Once you've done this, keep an eye on the tank. Make sure the temperature does not rise above 85. So you're going to want to be careful with that. So that's why you can have the blanket on for extra layer, or you can just pull it off if it gets above that. When the power goes out, you can use your flashlight to watch the temperature in your tank. Also, make sure that the gauge is in place before you start wrapping up the tank, because I have crabs. His name's Timmy. He's a surfer. This is his life. He chose the surfing life, or maybe it didn't choose him. He chose, I don't know. But he's a surfer. He likes to surf on the gauge. So you're going to want to make sure your gauge is not in any pool. Okay. If your tank starts to fall below 80, you can place in the hand warmers in a Tupperware dish. Now you're going to want to poke holes in this Tupperware dish. You can poke it. Make sure you don't cut yourself. Make sure you poke beforehand, because you want to be poking the Tupperware with a flashlight in hand. Somebody's going to end up cut, and it's not a good situation. You can throw them in there. That way the crabs don't get to them. Make sure you have the lid on it. Okay. Let's see. So you're still going to want to watch that. You're going to want to make these holes fairly big, but not bigger than your smallest crab. You don't want little Crabby Jr. to fall in there and be like, I can't get out, and now I'm burnt. You don't want that. Not a good situation. This way, your crabs cannot get into the hand warmers, and the heat is still filling the tank. If the storm is hitting as a big storm, please make sure you have a good supply of hand warmers on hand. Here in New York, we get, besides last winter was rare, you want to have hand warmers. We get storms all the time. Also, I live close to a lake, so lake affects snow. If you live by a lake, you're going to want to do that as well. Oh, also, hand warmers can be found around in dollar stores. So there's a little tidbit I didn't tell you before. If you don't have hand warmers on hand, you want to use plastic soda bottles, glass mason jars that you can poke holes in, and you can fill with hot water, not boiling. Place them into the crab tank. This is something you would want to keep an extreme eye on. You don't want the crabs near it. So if you have a smaller soda bottle, you can put a bigger soda bottle over it, something like that. Just try to keep it above 78. Above 80 is the best bet. Humidity is also another important factor. Normally the humidity, if I could speak correctly, will go up when the heat goes down. But with those heat hand warmers, those are going to leach the humidity out of the air. So you want to use press and seal cling film. The plastic film you use to cover up like leftovers or whatever. Bubble wrap or any other plastics like this. Foils and blankets will not hold in the humidity. Keep the lid closed as much as possible, and you use a spray bottle as needed. You really do not want to use a spray bottle. You want to use it in an extreme emergency. All right, we're going to take a short break, and I'll be back and read some more on that. When most people think of pets, it's either cats, dogs, or fish. For some of us, we've learned that hermit crabs can make great pets. Yes, hermit crabs are among the more unusual pets, but they are very interesting and surprisingly not low-maintenance pets like most think. They're very entertaining animals. They can dig, climb, and swim. One of the most challenging things about being a hermit crab owner is having a support group for advice and education. That's where we come in. We are hermit crab owners on Facebook, and our #1 goal is to educate people on hermit crab care, plus dispelling the bad information many owners get from pet stores. Join our Facebook group by going to Facebook, www.facebook.com/groups/itsacrabthing. We're looking for people who are serious about hermit crabs and learning about their care. If you're sick and tired of seeing hermit crabs treated as throwaway pets, we're the group for you. Join us at www.facebook.com/groups/itsacrabthing. When most people think of pets, it's either cats, dogs, or fish. For some of us, we've learned that hermit crabs can make great pets. Yes, hermit crabs are among the more unusual pets, but they are very interesting and surprisingly not low-maintenance pets like most think. They're very entertaining animals. They can dig, climb, and swim. One of the most challenging things about being a hermit crab owner is having a support group for advice and education. That's where we come in. We are hermit crab owners on Facebook, and our #1 goal is to educate people on hermit crab care, plus dispelling the bad information many owners get from pet stores. Join our Facebook group by going to Facebook, www.facebook.com/groups/itsacrabthing. We're looking for people who are serious about hermit crabs and learning about their care. If you're sick and tired of seeing hermit crabs treated as throwaway pets, we're the group for you. Join us at www.facebook.com/groups/itsacrabthing.
Crabcast on the air with HCO. Crabcast on the air. Here we go with your host Lacey, DJ Crab Lord. If you're feeling crabby, it's everything you're looking for everything you need to know about hermit crabs. Crabcast, HCO is where it's at.
You in the Tank In with DJ Crab Lord. You're listening to Crabcast Live on Air with Hermit Crab Owners. And now, here is your host, DJ Crab Lord.
I don't know about you guys, but I really cannot get enough of the cute little jingle. All right. We are still talking about winter is coming and the side effects of winter coming. Okay, I'm just going to make a few announcements again. Call Out the Wild is having free shipping this weekend. If you want to know the codes, go to her Emily's Facebook page or go right into the group. You can find them at www.callofthewild.etsy.com. Hermie's Kitchen will be having free shipping next weekend. Go to www.hermieskitchen.com or www.hermieskitchen.etsy.com. Secret Spooky Ghost sign up is right here. Find the post. Sign up. It works exactly like Secret Santa, except it's spooky ghosts. So it's our Halloween one, so you can be spooky and stuff. Spooky. You can sign up by September 9th. Melissa will give you your name by September 11th, and send out date is October 21st. That way everybody has it in plenty of time to, for Halloween. Hermit's Kitchen also has limited prints for the group. Are you team watercolor or are you team chalkboard? No one will ever know. All right, we're going to continue a little bit about winter coming, side effects of winter coming, why you should care about winter coming when you're sweating right now. Okay, power outages. Most power outages are sudden. But if you want to know, if you know that your power will be out due to maintenance or any other reason, maybe you're getting your electric redone, you can follow what I said before in the bad weather section. You still need to prep ahead of time because most of the time it's sudden. You don't know when the power is going to go out or when a dump truck is going to hit a telephone pole outside your house. You never know. So with this, the best thing to do is if you don't have your insulation and bubble wrap or anything else on hand, you want to throw some blankets over your tank. The more layers, the better. If your tank is not insulated, try wrapping it in foil or bubble wrap if you have anything on hand, and then you can throw the blankets over it. Make sure to keep a little gap window so you can see where the gauge is. Before you throw anything on top of it, you want to make sure you know where that gauge is. It's out in the pool, that it's working. So most power outages only last a few hours, and this time the tank should be still above 78, 80. Your goal is to keep it above 80. You want to try to get some information if the power outage will be longer than a few hours. So if you got to move your crab suddenly, then, and I'm talking this is a power outage of epic proportions, then you want to move your crabs. All right. Let's see. All right. We're going to be going over the group rules. I don't want to say we had issues, but, there's just some minor stuff going on. It happened last Friday. Things got kind of cray-cray in the group. So I just want to go over the group rules real quick. It's not cool being crabby, so even though this is a crab group. Our group rules are 1, no drama or rudeness. Easy. Don't be rude. Start no drama. Don't block the group admins. If you block us, then we're not going to be able to help you. If you block us, we're not going to be, you're not going to be able to see our post. And there might be something important going on. You just don't know. No linking to other crab groups or forums unless it's our sister groups. We have 2 sister groups. It is Shop and Swap and Chat and Chill. For Chat and Chill, you do have to be over 18. It's more of a mature group. There is mature things in there. If you can't handle it, then it's best not to join. Just stay in the group. Also, we do check if you're over 18, so there's no sneaking by us. We know. We check profiles. So don't try to sneak in. Anyone not following the 3 rules will be removed from the group. We're going to ask you nicely. We'll give you a warning first. But if you keep on keeping on, you're going to be removed for 90 days. And if you come back and you're keeping it on, then you're going to get banned forever. And that's a sad thing because our group is pretty awesome. As a courtesy, could you please do not take screenshots of a group and share them in other groups. When you're joining the group, also read the care guide. What I always tell new members to do is to sit back, get yourself a drink, a notepad, and a pen. Write down your questions. If you have any, questions like, how do I do this? How do I do that? I don't understand what you're saying right here. Just so we're not answering the same question 10,000 times over and over. Okay. see. We also have a care guide for Aussie members. We also have, under our shopping needs, different country breakdowns of where to go to get supplies, which is pretty nifty. So if you're in Canada, the UK, or in Australia, which, I'd love to visit there, but I'm afraid of dying as soon as I get off the plane, you want to check that out. If you're having trouble accessing your files, there is a link in the pin post on top of the group. Let's see, what else do we have? Selling of crabs is not allowed. We've had this issue come up quite a few times. We do not allow selling of your crabs. We do allow rehoming. So if you want to rehome your crabs to somebody in the group, that's fine. But you can't charge like, $5 per crab. No. You can sell your supplies if they're deemed safe. Like if you have calcium sand, you're not going to be able to sell that with crabs. If you have like a 50-gallon tank and some sub, yeah, you can sell that along with your crabs, but just not any selling of the crabs itself. You're going to want to post those items in Swap and Shop. And that way they get the attention they need, because our main focus is finding a home for those crabs, not to sell everything. Let's see. If you have anything to sell or trade, you can join HCO Swap and Shop. There is a link in the pin post. If you want to run a contest or start a store, contact an admin and learn our rules before advertising. Platinum members only get to advertise in our main group, but you can advertise all you want in Swap and Shop. But we have to make sure your items are safe first. We also want to say, keep in mind, there will be people suggestion ways to improve your tank for the sake of your crabs. If members of the group can offer suggestions based on the information we have, then they will. We're an educational group first. I mean, I know a lot of people used to get upset over it. Like, I just want to post pictures of my crabs. Well, you can do that, but we're going to say, hey, it's not good for you to handle them, or that pink sand needs to go. But we're going to say it nicely. We're not going to be like, hey, this sand needs to get the heck out of here. You need to go do this right away. However, we do not allow attacking of members. You can't be like, well, your tank sucks, so you suck. Your crabs are going to die. You just can't do that. It's always nice to say, hey, welcome. You're a new member. Read the files, or here's an admin to help you, or hey, I can help you. We want to make it as friendly as possible. I joined the group when there was maybe about, I think, 300 or 400 people. It was way back in the day. And the group has just grown into this big family. It really has. And we work really hard on the group to answer everybody's questions. I know sometimes people get upset that we don't answer them right away, but all of us do have jobs. A lot of us do also have kids. We have other things going on in our life. We're not immune to a parent getting sick, us getting sick, a kid getting sick, a car breaking down, or just having a bad day and staying off Facebook. We're not, immune to these things. These things do happen. Likewise, if a member is giving poor advice or being rude in response, they want to, when the help is given, you can contact an admin or a mod. We can step in and say, hey, don't do that. Be nice. So, all right. What else do we got going on? All right. 2 weeks ago and tonight, there was a post in the group called #SnackTime, or what's your hermit crab's favorite foods. I'm going to take a break because my voice is really dry, so I want some water. So I'm going to play our little break thingy, and we'll be right back. When most people think of pets, it's either cats, dogs, or fish. For some of us, we've learned that hermit crabs can make great pets. Yes, hermit crabs are among the more unusual pets, but they are very interesting and surprisingly not low-maintenance pets like most think. They're very entertaining animals. They can dig, climb, and swim. One of the most challenging things about being a hermit crab owner is having a support group for advice and education. That's where we come in. We are hermit crab owners on Facebook, and our #1 goal is to educate people on hermit crab care, plus dispelling the bad information many owners get from pet stores. Join our Facebook group by going to Facebook, www.facebook.com/groups/itsacrabthing. We're looking for people who are serious about hermit crabs and learning about their care. If you're sick and tired of seeing hermit crabs treated as throwaway pets, we're the group for you. Join us at www.facebook.com/groups/itsacrabthing. When most people think of pets, it's either cats, dogs, or fish. For some of us, we've learned that hermit crabs can make great pets. Yes, hermit crabs are among the more unusual pets, but they are very interesting and surprisingly not low-maintenance pets like most think. They're very entertaining animals. They can dig, climb, and swim. One of the most challenging things about being a hermit crab owner is having a support group for advice and education. That's where we come in. We are hermit crab owners on Facebook, and our #1 goal is to educate people on hermit crab care, plus dispelling the bad information many owners get from pet stores. Join our Facebook group by going to Facebook, www.facebook.com/groups/itsacrabthing. We're looking for people who are serious about hermit crabs and learning about their care. If you're sick and tired of seeing hermit crabs treated as throwaway pets, we're the group for you. Join us at www.facebook.com/groups/itsacrabthing.
Crabcast on the air with HCO. Crabcast on the air, here we go. With your host, Lacey, DJ Crab Lord. If you're feeling crabby, it's everything you're looking for. Everything you need to know about hermit crabs. Crabcast, HCO is where it's at.
You in the Tank In with DJ Crab Lord.
Okay, we are back. Actually, we're going to take a caller before we do #snack time. Hey there, Nathan. You are on the air.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good, actually. How's it going with you?
Oh, good.
Awesome. So do you want to give some tips and suggestions for summertime and wintertime installation and crab care?
Well, what I've found out is really the Ultratherms from Reptile Basics or Bean Farm are the cream of the crop, the best Ultratherms you can buy for your tanks. Zoom Eds are great. They're convenient. You can buy them at the pet stores. They just don't work. They don't provide the heat required for your tank, especially when you get up into larger tanks. By the time you spend the money buying 2 to 3 Zoom Eds, you might as well buy one Ultratherm from the 2 companies that I mentioned earlier, Reptile Basics or Bean Farm. You're saving a lot of money and a lot of heartache trying to get your temperature up. It's just, I know some people can't do it, but it's the best thing that you can do. You want to buy a mat that is the length of the tank and half of the depth of your tank. In other words, you want the half of your tank full of sub, and the other half of the tank is going to be all heat pad or UTH, under tank heater. So if you have a 55 gallon, I would recommend a 11 by 47. Same thing with a 75 gallon, 11 by 47. You're going to be, to get half the tank, you're going to want half the tank full of sub, you're going to want to fill it up halfway. But the 55 and the 75, you're going to be a little bit overlapping. So what I did is I made a trough in the back half of the tank, a little trough. I dug it out to where the Ultratherm heater was not overlapping the sub. You don't want to heat that sub up. It's okay to have maybe an inch overlap, but you don't want more than that, really, so to speak. Also, it come around to wintertime, the Reflectix from Home Depot or Lowe's, I would recommend getting it. Find the size that fits your tank, that covers the whole back half of your tank. Lay it across the back. I used duct insulation. You can also, some people use just packing tape. You can also use duct tape. I don't like duct tape because when it gets heated up, it gets sticky. It sticks to the back of your tank. It dries out. You got a lot of residue left over if you ever tried to remove it. It's kind of nasty, but that's why I like the heat tape or the foil tape. It doesn't leave that residue, and it's meant to take high temperatures.
Yes, it is. Definitely.
As I went through the wintertime, I noticed that my tank, the 75 gallon, with the two toppers on top, I got a 20 tall and I got a 15. It wasn't quite keeping it up to temperature, so I had to double layer the Reflectix. Also, I put another layer on top of the toppers of Reflectix. Also had to, when I first started, I started with a 10-gallon tank. Everybody does start with a 10-gallon tank. Mostly everybody does. I bought the same Zoom Ed heater that's required to heating up your tank.
Oh, definitely.
So it was. I was fortunate enough. I didn't buy the smallest Zoom Ed. I bought the second size, the medium size, the one that's required for heating a tank of 10 plus 20-gallon tank. So I was able to add that Zoom Ed. It wasn't a waste. I didn't lose my money out buying that Zoom Ed heater. I fixed it, or I adhered it, or I attached it to one of my toppers, and it placed it on one of my toppers. That really helped out. It really gave that a little bit of extra boost. So for those of you that bought the Zoom Ed, if you plan on upgrading, if you plan on getting bigger tanks, don't think that you bought your Zoom Ed and it's a waste. It'll always come in handy in the future. You will need it. You will need it in the wintertime. So I'm not saying that you wasted your money on your Zoom Ed. I'm saying save it for later, because eventually everybody wants to go to a bigger tank. They want to go larger. They want to go bigger. You might say that, hey, I'm going to stick with my 29-gallon. I'm going to stick with my 2 to 3 crabs, and that's all I'm going to do. Believe me, it's an addiction. You're going to want to go bigger eventually.
I'm like, I'm just fine with these three, and then others came along, and they looked cute, and they came home with me.
We always want to rescue. We always want to save them. There's always somebody in our community that needs help. They need to have these crabs adopted out. So always plan on, yes, I am going to adopt eventually in the future. I made the same mistake. Once I got my 75-gallon aquarium, I had 2 crabs. I'm like, great. I can go for 5 more crabs. I can fill my tank up really fast. And all of a sudden, somebody needs a crab adopted out. In your state, no matter what state you're in, somebody is going to eventually want to say, hey, I tried my best. I can't provide the best for them. Will somebody please take your crabs? There's not a lot of crab people here in Kansas, not compared to Texas and other states.
Ohio, Texas, and Ohio.
Ohio's another one. For some reason, it's weird. But I've adopted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 crabs just in Kansas. I've adopted 2 others that I've had to have. I don't condone shipping, but they were shipped to me. So I'm up to 10 crabs now, and there's always somebody looking for help for crabs. So eventually you're going to want to upgrade. So I'm not saying that my 29, my 30, my 50, my 55 is big enough. Eventually it's an addiction. Eventually you're going to want to go bigger. I'm telling you.
It is, and you're going to also want to check out if your floor can take that weight. If you're an older house, you don't want to upgrade and be like, oh, my floor's caving in. Oops.
Exactly. I'm in the process of moving my crabs from a 75. I'm going to transfer them across the room to another 75 just so I can set up another 100-gallon tank. Because
Definitely.
the adoption rate is so great. And I'm not saying it's so great in Kansas, but there's always going to be somebody in the future that needs some help. And I'm available, but I'm just saying Kansas, it's not really a big deal, but other states, Texas, Ohio, wherever you're from, somebody's going to want to adopt. So those of you that are looking to buy more, purchase more, think about what others might need in the future. So plan ahead of time. Also, when it comes to heat lamps, I don't trust heat lamps. I don't trust screen lids. I don't even trust the saran wrap or the press and seal. Those are only temporary fixes for a long-term problem. So, when you say what's the best lid to keep my humidity, keep my heat in, what's the best lid for a UVB bulb, because you're going to want to get those in the future. My suggestion is a Versatop. Versatops are really great. If you can't get a Versatop or you don't want to modify that, get a regular aquarium hood. Seal up all the gaps, keep your humidity, keep your heat in. Also, what I've done is I combine the two. I combined a hood for my UVB bulb. I also combined the Versatops. Versatops, buying those two is quite pricey, but it'll benefit you in the long run. You're going to have a sealed lid. You're also going to have your hood that's going to provide the UVB bulb to get through to your crabs, because you can't set a UVB bulb on top of your glass, VersaTop hood.
No. The rays
UVB
won't go
bulb,
through the glass.
exactly, or your screen lid, it cuts it down by 50%. The UVB bulb does not produce very much heat, very minimal, maybe 1, 2, 3 degrees is all your UVB bulb is going to provide for heat. That is why I'm suggesting get a UT Ultratherm under tank heater, Ultratherm from Reptile Basics, that covers the back half of your tank and covers half the depth of your tank. You want to heat the air. You do not want to heat the sub. And
Definitely.
I can't express that anymore. That the more sub you have, the deeper your sub is, the less space you have to heat up. By adding toppers, you're increasing the airspace, so you're going to want a bigger UTH or additional UTH.
Also, I just want to touch on that real quick. With toppers, remember, you're increasing their climbing space, not their molting space, so you still want to stick to the 10-a-gallon rule, just what you have in your main tank. So if you're at a 75-gallon, seven crabs is the max. It's not going to add on to how many crabs you can keep in that tank.
Well, what I've learned from experience is a 40-gallon breeder. 40-gallon breeders are a nice size. They're the same floor space as a 55-gallon. The problem, what I found with the 40-gallon breeders, a lot of UTHs, Ultratherms, under tank heaters, don't span the length of a 40-gallon breather. They come up kind of short. So those of you that want to upgrade from a 29, you think you're getting a 40-gallon breeder, you're going from a 3-crab to a 4-crab tank. You're doing good by expanding your sub depth, but by a 40-gallon breeder, you're limiting on what you can do with your lid, your toppers, your heaters. I don't discourage them, but you're going to have to modify a lot of things. You'll probably have to buy 2 UTHs to heat those type of tanks. So if you're looking at the Petco dollar gallon for sale, I would recommend the 55 gallons over the 40-gallon tank any day, because with
and
the
it's only
55,
going to be 15 more.
Exactly, it's one more crab, but you can add toppers that will fit exactly on top of a 55. You can add a 20 tall, or you can add a 15 that'll fit perfect for your 55 gallon. I haven't found a topper or a tank that'll fit a 40 gallon perfectly and without
I don't think there is.
I don't think there is either. So with a 55 gallon, I hate to pimp my file or my suggestion. I would recommend the under tank false bottoms. Here we go, false bottoms.
Here we go. We're going to do a show just on false bottoms one day, and you're going to be my co-host.
We could do a whole show on false bottoms, but if you're going to go 55, you might as well go with a false bottom. 40 gallons, a false bottom. I know somebody that has 20-gallon breeders. She puts false bottoms in all her 20 gallons. But my recommendation is if you have a 55, go with a false bottom, because I hate to pimp it. I hate to, express it. And we're talking about heating our tanks right now, but with a false bottom, It's a lot cheaper to do a false bottom. It's great insurance because the amount of sub, if you have a flood, the amount of sub you're going to have to change, and the chances of hurting crabs, killing crabs without a false bottom, I'm telling you, it's a cheap insurance.
It is. If you think about having a 150-gallon tank, a 200-gallon tank, that's so many bags of sand. You want to do 150-pound bag of sand per every 10 gallons. That is a lot of sand to replace. That's a lot of mixing to redo. It's worth it to have it, and it's worth it for the crabs, not only financially. You want to make sure they're okay.
Exactly. $30 is what I've found that costs for a false bottom for a 55 or 75. $30 is a lot cheaper than replacing all your sub and replacing the lives of your crabs.
Yeah, it's more important because they can't, their little lives can't be replaced.
Well, I'm sorry for going on a rant like this, but anybody who's starting out, you start out with a 10-gallon. I got 3 crabs. Oh, dang it! We recommend a 29 or 30-gallon for your 3 crabs. Eventually, you're going to go bigger. I'm just saying to every newbie out there somebody who just got started in crabs, eventually you're going to want to go bigger because the more crabs you have, the more activity you have, the more you get to see your crabs. When I started with a 10-gallon tank, I had 2 crabs. Wow. I never saw my crabs.
Boring.
They were always gone. You end up with a 55, you got 5 crabs, maybe 6 crabs in your 55. You're always going to see some type of activity. You are. 75, you might have 7 crabs, you might have 8 crabs. There is always going to be constant activity. Believe it or not, still with my 75-gallon, I had 8 crabs in there. I had 8 crabs molting. You're always going to experience that sand. It's amazing that they always have a routine.
And I have 16 crabs in it because one I just got a rescue. I'm like, okay, 150. I have 15 crabs. It's perfect. So this little guy came along. His name is Sir Jack of Daniels. But it seems like once he came along, everybody went under. I had pet sand, and I had 16 crabs under. I'm like, well, this is quite boring.
It happens. It's amazing. I got 2 Ecuadorians that are on the same cycle. That one goes down, the other goes down. One comes up, the other comes up. They're constantly following each other,
My
I can't
strawberries
say that.
do that.
I can't say that my PPs follow that same schedule, my purple pinchers, but my Ecuadorians, my 2 Ecuadorians, they follow. One goes down, the next one follows within a week. One comes up, the next one comes up within a day,
Yeah, it seems to be more of an exotic crab thing because I know a lot of people with strawberries and ease. They do the same thing. It seems like it's more of a exotic crab type thing. I don't know any other exotic types. I don't know if they follow the same thing, but the ease and strawberries definitely. It seems like once one goes down, the other ones go down.
And the fact that we mentioned strawberries require so much more. They require deeper depth. They require a perfect humidity, a perfect temperature, a perfect depth, because they are so much more fragile than, say, your purple pinchers, than, say, your Ecuadorian.
Definitely. Purple pinchers, by far, are the toughest crabs I have ever met. You just don't know when you get them in a pet store all they've been through.
Oh, my God.
It's truly amazing.
it's amazing what a purple pincher goes through. And by the time you get him home, and he wants to stay up, he might not want a shell change. He might not go down. He might go down for 2 weeks, come back up. You know, he might not molt. Purple pinchers are the hardiest, the most resilient crab out there. Once you start exploring into exotics, your temperatures must be spot on. They require so much more. This is why we go in full circle now. Why we must have the correct size UTH heater on. Why we must have the correct insulation on. Why we must have the correct UVB bulb and setup. You know, it's so important once you go from purple pincher to exotics to have it perfect. And I've been doing this.
Oops, sorry. Keep going. After you're done, I'll chime in.
That's okay. I've been doing this maybe a little over a year, and I can't believe how much I've learned just from observing crabs and their behavior and learning from this group that the influence that you provide for them is you are actually trying to mimic what they really have in nature.
Yes, you are.
That might sound kind of corny, but what you're doing, you're isolating a crab to a confined space, and you want to do the best you can for them. And
you definitely do. All they have is you. They can't go out and buy sand and stuff. They don't have a Lowe's credit card like I do. They can't go grab the car keys and be like, be back later. I'm going out shopping. They need you.
Exactly. So that's why I can express that your little bitty Accurite $9 gauge from Walmart is going to be your lifeline to what your crabs are experiencing. I mean, they might be cheap, they might fail, but it's the closest thing that I've found that's going to give you the most accurate reading. Another thing I like to express is when it comes to from winter time to summer, you're going to change. Things are going to change. You're going to have air conditioning in your house. Air conditioning is going to pull out humidity out of your house.
Definitely.
Your humidity is going to drop in your tank. You're going to want a sealed lid. Your bubblers in your water pools or your water tubs or your water dishes or your water bowls, whatever you want to call them, the bubblers are going to provide that type of humidity.
Especially in larger tanks, too.
Exactly. Especially when you're starting off, you're going to want that sub to be a consistent sandcastle consistency. You want it on top, you want it on bottom, you want it all the way through as you're making your new tank up. You want a sandcastle consistency because that is going to provide you with the moisture that you need, the humidity that you need in your tank. And I can't stress that enough. I have not spritzed or misted or sprayed my tank in probably 5-6 months. I can't say the last time I misted my tank because my sub is sandcastle consistency, and I have bubblers in my pools, and I don't have to do anything else. My tank is totally sealed. You don't want any air gaps. You want it tightly sealed. They don't need oxygen to breathe. They need, the only time I open the tank up is for feeding. I don't open the tank up to check on the crabs. It's totally a sealed environment. It's totally, if you mix everything properly in your sub, your leaf litter, your calcium, with your eggs, shells, or your crushed coral, your worm castings, everything is provided for them. And so you're basically providing a what am I trying to say, Lacey?
It's self-sustaining.
Self-sustaining
yes.
biotank, just like a vivarium, right? You don't have to add or anything to the tank. If you mix your sub properly with all the amendments, you don't have to do anything. It's all there. And a lot of people talk about, I'm going on vacation, I'm going to be gone for a week. If you mix your sub the correct way, everything is already there that the crabs need. They have the leaf litter, they have the sphagnum moss, they have the Timothy hay, they have the crushed coral, they have the worm casting. Oyster shells. Your crabs are going to have everything they need to eat for at least a week. Granted, I might slip up and not feed them for 3 days, 4 days. They will give me that look like, hey, they're staring at the food dishes.
Come over and tap on the glass.
They're staring at the food dishes like, hey, the stuff's a little moldy. It's kind of gone.
We're not in the wild anymore. We want fresh.
Yeah, exactly. You feed that tank. I showed some pictures the other day, and in the past, I have crabs that just devour food as soon as I put them in. But I'm saying 3 to 4 days, 5 days, you can get away without feeding your crabs. You don't have to have fresh food every day. You don't have to have, these crabs are hardy. But over a week's time, if you're gone for a week, that's fine. I'm saying, but if you're gone over 2 weeks, you might want to have somebody come over and say, hey, let's drop us something in this tank, but really, it's not that hard. You don't have to feed fresh food every day. You don't have to feed it every 2 days. They're not that hard. Once you are completely set up, properly set up, you follow the guidelines, you follow the recommendations that the group provides in the piles, your crabs are going to be healthy. They're going to thrive. They're going to be happy. They're low maintenance. Don't stress
once
over.
Everything is set up.
Yes, once you have everything correctly, everything is low maintenance. And when it comes to summertime, you still have your 2 layers of Reflectix on top, on the back of your UTH from Reptile Basics or Bean Farm. Eventually, you're going to want, summertime, it's going to warm up. It's going to get hotter in your tank. No matter how hard your air conditioner works, it's going to be hotter.
It is.
You want a thermostat. There are thermostats out there as low as, I think mine was $26, a Zoom Ed brand. A thermostat. I swear by thermostats.
Oh, definitely, especially in bigger tanks.
They will control everything you need. When you
it makes your job easier.
Definitely. When you start out, you're slapping a Zoom Ed on. This Zoom Ed is just trying its hardest to try to keep up You insulate, you're trying to keep it up, you're sealing off all the holes, you're sealing off the whole tank, you're hoping to get your temperature up. Your humidity is great because you just set it up. It's fresh sub. It's the moisture is already there. You got your bubblers and you got your moss pits. You're spritzing your moss pits all the time. Your thermostat, your Zoomed is still struggling trying to keep up. You buy a UTH from Bean Farm or an Ultratherm from Bean Farm or Reptile Basics, it's gonna heat. But when it comes to summertime, it's gonna overheat. You want that thermostat. You want to be able to shut that heater off. And it's gonna stay. Once you have a thermostat, you can set it and it'll stay. It'll kick on, it'll kick off at the certain temperature that you want it to keep on. 85 degrees is about where you want it, especially if you have exotics.
Yes, definitely.
PPs can stay at about an 80 degrees, but your E's and your strawberries, your violas. I'm not too sure about Aussies. I'm not from Australia, but whatever. I'm pretty sure that
hopefully we can get Ash's computer to work next time. That way we can do an all-Aussie show and not roll
That
off
would be
like
awesome.
Ash.
But most of your exotics, you're going to want about 85 consistent degrees. Also with your humidity, you don't have to have 99. You don't have to have 90% humidity. 85% humidity is pretty good, So if you have an 85 humidity and 85 temperature, you're running about perfect for your purple pinchers, your Ecuadorians, and that's all I can say.
Other exotics.
That thermostat is going to save you a lot of headaches. I'm not saying that everybody has to go out right now and buy the exact same thing that I have, or any of us mods have, or any of us admins have, but it's a growing process. So by buying the UTH, the proper UTH from the Ultratherm, by buying the correct Accurite gauge, or not relying on the analog gauges, and by buying a thermostat, you are improving, you are making it easier to maintain a stable environment for your crabs. That's basically all I have to say about that.
All right, I just actually wanted to hit on a few things. I was taking notes. So also with the small heaters, you can use them for your ISO tanks or totes. So it's not always a total waste of money if you get these smaller ones. The only heat mats that are a total waste of money are the ones that are labeled for hermit crabs. They give about 1 degree of heat. It's honest.
Exactly.
Also, with the glass lids and everything, you can have a glass lid cut at Lowe's. That's what I have. You can modify it, drill holes in it, make it a lid, cut it so another tank can sit as a topper, and they hold humidity perfect. You're going to want to go with the thicker plexiglass, not the thinner. I made the mistake of doing that first, and my cats were laying on it, and it was slowly caving in. So you want to go with the thicker plexiglass.
Thicker, you mean quarter inch?
Yes, the quarter inch. I forgot how big it was.
Versus the 8-inch plexiglass.
Yes. You want to make sure you get that, nothing bigger, because then it's not going to fit, it's not going to slide in. For the humidity and the heat, you also, the tunneling and the sub is important for the crabs. They need to tunnel, they need to molt, they live to molt. Also about the shipping, I totally forgot to hit on this. We have about 15 minutes left, so I'll hit on this while you're on the phone. Mail order crabs. There's somebody, I'm not going to name names, but there's somebody from Germany that ships out exotic and purple pincher crabs. I want to say this is a huge no-no. The person who is doing it, he won't show the permits that he has. He labels them as something else. It's just not a good business practice. I mean, I understand that crabs are being shipped from overseas anyways to the pet stores, but he is actually, giving a supplier, hey, go get this many on the beach because I need this many in my shop to sell. So.
Exactly. The two Ecuadorians that I fostered or rescued or adopted, what do you want to call it, were from a beach shop. One of our admins went to this beach shop and said, hey, what are you going to do with these crabs when season is over? That person said, hey, you can have these crabs when they're done.
Or they were going to toss them.
Or they were going to toss them, exactly. She found buyers ahead of time that would adopt these crabs out. So, believe me, it was 2 days of utter stress when they were shipped to me. I stayed home. I took a day off work. My wife took a day off work just to make sure we were home when these crabs showed up at our doorstep. It was an utter nightmare. I would not want anybody to have to go through that.
No, it's funny that you got two Ecuadorians that way. That's also how I got two of my Ecuadorians. They were from a rescue in Ohio. The rescuer, she's actually part of her group. Her name's Marianne. I got them from her. She didn't have any Ecuadorians at the time. She knew I needed a buddy for Sammy because I got Sammy at a state fair, and there's no other E's in my area. So she shipped them to me, and it was, first of all, I had them overnighted. I paid, I think it was like $35 or something to have them overnighted.
Yes.
And they didn't show up overnighted, which scared the hell out of me. I was ready to call the post office. They came at the possible last second that day, and they came okay. It's Norman and Wobbles. Those are my two that I got. But I just want to say that, shipping, it's extremely stressful. I know a few people who are postal workers. Those packages just drop. And that's not something, you want your crabs to go through. You only want to ship in extreme circumstances. Like, you got to rehome these because your home is being foreclosed on, or it's a life or death situation.
Yes. My crabs were supposed to be overnighted. 2 days later, they showed up.
Yeah, it's not always overnight.
You do not trust. Don't trust the Postal Service. Don't trust anybody to ship crabs. It's a scary situation, and I was fortunate enough my crabs were packaged properly with the correct with the correct conditions. They were shipped to me. They weren't shipped in some little cardboard box. They weren't shipped in the middle of the summer. They weren't shipped in the middle of the winter. They were shipped in the fall. You could probably get away with it in the spring. Sometimes springs, depends on what side of the country you're on.
Yeah.
You can get away with it. But middle of summer, middle of winter, absolute no. Do not ship crabs. Do not order crabs because you don't know what you're going to get. I would hate for anybody to open a box with 2 dead crabs in them, 3 dead crabs. a dead crab. You know, in the middle of summer, in the middle of the winter.
And that's another thing. I don't like the mail order business because people are like, oh, well, like 28 out of the 31 that were sent, they ended up okay. Yeah, but what about the other ones that died in the process so you could have pretty crabs?
You know, I'm not going to argue with you about this, Lacey, but what about the 28 that survived? What did they go through? How much damage to their gills or their bodies that happened that you're not going to foresee that's going to happen in the next month, 2 months, 6 months with these crabs?
No,
you know
whenever gill damage happens, it's long term. There's no, I'm going to feed them healing foods. There's no reversing it. Once their gills are damaged, they're damaged forever.
Yeah, it's just like smokers and emphysema. Once that damage occurs, there's not really any fixing it.
No, there's not. Sadly, there just isn't.
Yep. So I hope I was able to help on a little tidbit about insulating and buying the proper UTH ultratherm heater, and hope I didn't confuse too many people by getting off subject, but I really enjoyed talking.
All right, I'm going to let you go. We have 9 minutes left, so I got to do some things real quick. All right?
Thank you, Lacey. Good night.
No problem. Thank you. Good night. All right, we actually have a question from Sandy. We have snow and power outages, maybe 2 weeks of unheated rooms. I seal and wrap the tank on all sides and do other things to keep it warmish. What about the light? Is the darkness from being covered healthier than a risk of cold? Well, Sandy, I'm going to answer your question. If you do have, outages happen, there is battery packs for lights, for bubblers. They sell them on Amazon. If you want to still keep the day and night cycle going, it's, first they need to be heated. That's the most important thing for them. It's not only to keep them warm, it's for their metabolism as well. They can't eat without it. They need to be warm. They're they're in the tropics, where I wish I was. You can find them on Amazon. I can link you to one later. So if you want to keep the light going, there's battery packs, electric battery packs you can use to keep everything going. All right. Now with the last, how many minutes do we got? We got 7 minutes left. All right. I'm going to do #snack time. We asked, what is your hermit crab's favorite food? We got salmon skins. It's a hands down favorite. Boiled shrimp. They always drag them to their holes. Oh, that's awesome. And it'll probably stink later, but, if it's worth it, it's worth it. You can also feed the shrimp raw. They like raw food. They're not getting it cooked on the beach. Kelly says apparently peas. So her crabs are crazy for peas. Habaneros. Another good one. We have a strawberry. His name is Flame. His name is Flame for a reason. He also has a hot peppers mix in our store. He likes the spice. Snakeskin spicy food mixes and fresh coconut. Gotta love that fresh coconut. You can keep it in there for ages. I forget who it was, but they just kept the coconut in there, and the moldier it got, the more they loved it. Popcorn, another huge favorite. You don't want to feed it all the time, but you can sprinkle stuff on it to make it healthier for them. Also, with the popcorn, make sure it's air popped, nothing crazy used that's not on the safe list. So you don't want any of that bagged stuff. Kiwi, cherries, banana chips, bloodworms. There's never any bloodworms left when I wake up in the morning. Another favorite here, my betas also love the bloodworms, never any left. River shrimp, sliced apple. The one that came up the other day loved the river shrimp and sliced apple and dug right back down. So he's just chilling. Popcorn and eggs. Yes, eggs. We already went over that. Any way, shape, or form. Definitely any meat, shrimp, chicken, turkey, etc. They love their carnivore foods. You want to feed them raw? You can. It's actually what's better for them. They're not going to, get it cooked on the beach. Like I said last week with the hashtag of beach chicken and my reputation being ruined with, I don't know, with beach chickens, I guess. But we also have beach chickens in the slideshow. One of our members in the group, her daughter made it, so enjoy beach chicken. Snake exo, green foods, lettuce, green beans, peas, seaweed. Seaweed is an important part. It's aquatic leaf litter, or not aquatic leaf litter, but it's aquatic litter. They like that kind of stuff. It's important to have in their diet. That's part of their main diet. Shrimp, apples, krill, worm castings, eggs. Another popcorn. They only get a few about once a month because they fill up on it. That is true. Eggs, they're in the dishes for 2 hours, and they kept going back. It's always great to see them going back, or somebody pushing somebody out of the dish because it's so good. Crawfish, krill, mealworms. Japanese maple leaves, fresh apples, coconut popcorn, insects of all kinds. All right, let's see what else we got. All right, I'm scrolling up. Salmon skin, another one with salmon skin. It's delicious. Fresh mangoes, raw eggs, and honey. Popcorn, another one for popcorn. And another one for popcorn. Honey, blueberry, and applesauce. Want to make sure that applesauce has no sugar in it? Make it homemade. Chia seeds. Also good to toss some of those on the sub. Have a little chia seed farm. Coconut flakes and popcorn. Definitely honey. Just noticed my crabs, at least the one that is up, 2 are still down, like the almond slices. Almonds. Got another one for coconut, another one for honey. Let's see what else we got. We got honey, peanut butter, salmon skins, dehydrated. I can't stomach the smell lately. When you're feeding 6 tanks, it gets kind of crazy, but I love it, and 3 of my 5 grandkids are really into them. That's always nice. It's always a nice activity to do something with your family. I mean, these are just awesome pets. They really are. They don't get as much respect as they should. Oh, we just got another one before the show ended. Fresh baby spinach. That's another great one. All right, I think we almost used up all the time. We actually only have 2 minutes and 45 seconds left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the jingle and play us out. This was DJ Crablord with my minion Nathan on the air. And I'm going to let the ukulele sing us out. Deuces!
Crabcast on the air with HCO. Crabcast on the air, here we go. With your host Lacey, DJ Crablord. If you're feeling crabby, it's everything you're looking for everything you need to know about hermit crabs. Crabcast, HCO is where it's at.
Fashion emergency hotline.
Help! My mom doesn't think I need to go back to school.
You have to go to school. It's the law.
You didn't let me finish. She doesn't think I need to go back to school shopping.
That should be a law. Go to Old Navy. You'll be voted best dressed before school even starts.
Old Navy?
Yes, right now, kids' clothes are up to 60% off.
60% off?
Yeah, the hallway will be your runway. They have awesome graphic tees, colorful active gear, and jeans start at just $10.
Now you're talking. Thank you.
Don't thank me. Thank Old Navy. Valid 7/28 to 9/2. Select styles only.